Oh, there we go. Hello, everyone. Fucking mess here. Okay, I was in a really good mood, and then I tried to record this, and for whatever reason, the fucking camera app on my computer, I've got it connected to my audio interface, but over the last week, it just keeps saying, "Oh, update your privacy settings so we can access the microphone." I haven't changed the fucking privacy settings. I don't know why it's doing this. I spent like a good 5-10 minutes just fucking fixing that. And literally, I was just turning it on and off, on and off, on and off. Didn't fucking work. I went into the fucking system settings and I had to. I didn't change any settings. I just flipped it on, flipped it off again, or whatever. And now it just decides to work. So I don't fucking know. I hate. Not I hate technology because it's pretty useful. But it's just like technology. I feel like it's just built to fail at this point. It's fucking ridiculous. Um, Yeah, shit. Hello everyone. It's been over 2 weeks now, maybe three since I posted my last video. And I think I really want to, I don't know, I want to be making better content because it just keeps being unstructured rambling from me. I've attempted to record maybe 5 different videos, over the last couple weeks. Um, and it's just been doing my head in because I get midway through and I just peter out and I'm like, I'm not saying anything that people would really listen to, you know? And I get a bit envious because I see other people's channels and like their first upload gets like 10K views and like they're saying similar stuff to me, but like, I don't know. I think part of it's geography, I reckon, because it's always Americans that are getting real big, high view videos, which I mean, I guess, they're posting it at different times and I don't. They're saying more regional stuff. There's only so much I could say before people just sort of think it gets a bit too local. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. Today, I wanted to discuss the city I live in, Sydney, and why I fucking hate it. I hate living in Sydney. I wouldn't say it sucks because on one hand, it is a pretty safe city. There are some cities in the world, even in pretty well-off nations where, you can't be out at a certain hour or else you're going to get fucking robbed, or worse, And Sydney, for the most part, in like the inner city, it's pretty fine. It's fairly safe. People tend to behave themselves for the most part. Of course, there are outliers. There are drunken blokes that try to start a fight, but that's pretty much everywhere. Unfortunately, I wish people could behave themselves. I wish people could have a bit of fucking maturity. There's nothing I can't stand more than people who can't handle their fucking alcohol and drugs and then still do alcohol and drugs and keep getting themselves into trouble and keep starting fucking like fights and everything with other people. And they're always the problem, and they're just like, oh, but well, how am I gonna have fun? And but I wanna be included. I wanna. It's like, okay, I don't know. Maybe sort out what's inside you that's making you want to fucking fight people. Because I've been drunk more times than I could count, and never once did I want to swing on someone. Never once did I want to start groping people. Never once did I want to start having fucking verbal arguments with strangers. You know, like that's really a you thing. And if you've got trauma or a past, I can sympathize. I definitely can. I've had my own fair share of pretty unpleasant stuff happen, and some of it I have worked through, some of it still kind of affects me, but I don't externalize it in the form of starting fights in pubs. So I don't know. It's just really an immature thing for that I see a lot of people doing where they're again they get a couple pints of beer and now all of a sudden they think they're prime Mike. It's like fuck off, seriously. Whatever. That's not even a Sydney thing. This is just broad scale bullshit. Now yeah, there's a lot to complain about with Sydney, and at the same time, not a whole lot because again, grand scheme of things, it's a pretty safe place. But the worst aspects of it, I'd say, is the affordability or lack thereof, and the fucking people. Some of the people in Sydney and other people, heaps of foreigners have noticed it. People are not very fucking friendly here. People aren't that social. It it's an entire city, an entire region where everyone still acts like they're in fucking high school and they're in a clique. And if you're not part of their clique, they want nothing to fucking do with you. And it's so fucking tiring. I cannot stand it. I absolutely cannot. People are not friendly here. Um, and I'm talking like just broad scale, like one on one. If you ask someone for directions, they'll probably give you directions. If you say to someone, "Hey, how do I get to here?" They'll be like, "Oh, just go down the street, turn left, whatever, whatever." Like no one's gonna tell you to get fucked, right? But if you were, I don't know, I've seen a couple like Reddit posts or Instagram posts or whatever from people being like, "Oh, what are the Sydney locals like?" And they say, "Yeah, they're kind of detached." You know, a lot of people say, "Yeah, people in Sydney like they go from A to B and they don't give a fuck who's in their way. They just go, they just do." And I'm pretty guilty of this myself, you know, when I'm out in the city, especially on my own, I'm not really walking around and waving at everybody and saying hi, you know, like I've got fucking places to be. If I want to go to a record store, I'm gonna walk to the record store. If I want to go to a sushi joint and get some fucking lunch, that's where I'm going. I'm not gonna stop and, say hi to all the pigeons and ask everyone how their day's going. I really don't like it here anymore. If it were up to me, I would want to move to Melbourne because it's more affordable down there. Like I think I remember a little while ago, I looked at the median rental price between Sydney and Melbourne. Sydney, it was like 800 and something, like 850, I think, or 890, maybe. It was over $800 per week, right? Median for Sydney. And then I looked at Melbourne and it was like 500 and something, which still 500 per week is that's not a small amount of money. But it's a hell of a lot better than 800, hell of a lot better. Um, and as well, I'd prefer to go to Melbourne because they've got a more established art scene and they actually have a real nightlife. That's another thing that sucks about Sydney. There's no fucking nightlife. You go out and it'll be like 9:30, 10 o'clock, and people are already shuffling home, you know. And as well, we've got this thing called lockout laws, I'm pretty sure, where a lot of places have to close up by a certain time or they can't serve drinks past a certain hour. Um, and it really, really neuters a lot of the fun you can possibly have on a night out. And I'm not saying that you need to be in a pub or a club or drinking to have fun, but it's like if you're out and nothing's open and everyone's already just trying to make their commute home. Like what is the fucking point? Unless you want to go crash at a mate's house or like drink in a fucking park like a teenager, there isn't a whole lot that you can feasibly do. I know there's some places you got to go look for it, you got to go find it. You got to be in the know and you can find some pretty cool spots and I agree with that. But broad scale, like there's a lot less happening in comparison to other places within Australia and especially outside of Australia. You know, you look at places in the US or literally fucking anywhere. You know, I reckon you'd find better nightlife practically anywhere else on the planet than in Sydney because it's just all people do is drink and smoke and that's kind of it really, you know. And not that I'm opposed to drinking and smoking, but it's like, I remember I used to work with a lady. She was from Argentina. I remember we were talking and I remember I asked her, I was like, "Oh, how do you like Sydney? Do you like it?" And she goes, "It's cool." She goes, "It's safe, but there's nothing to do, you know." And I just laughed because she was so fucking right. She was like, "The only thing you can do is go to the beach or eat and maybe go shopping if you've got the money. But that's about it." And she was like, "Back home in Argentina, people were nicer, people were friendlier. We had mountains. You could just go hang out at a mountain on your weekend if you wanted to. And here, it's just shopping and beaches and pubs." And again, I'm like, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, you know? And like all the truth was just coming out of this Argentinian lady who'd only been here for like less than a year, I'd say. But like, holy shit, you know? And then funnily enough, she fucked off down to Melbourne. So maybe it's in the cards. Maybe I really do want to, but it's more a matter of consistent income and sort of figuring out what my long term plan is because it's a bit reckless to just kind of move somewhere without really having an idea of what you're going to do and how it's all going to pan out. You need to have an idea at least. You know, you can't just be like, I'm just going to go. Maybe you can, maybe, but maybe that's a bit of a dated idea. You know, I feel like people in the 70s could have done that. They could have just gotten in their car and fucked off and built a new life somewhere. I don't know. I wasn't alive in the 70s. Can you believe it? Um, but yeah, it's so I'm really sick of it, and mostly because as well, I've spent my whole life living here, you know. So not I feel like I've seen everything, but I've seen a lot of the novelty behind it. I've been to the Opera House. I've seen the Harbour Bridge more times than I can fucking count, you know, and it's still impressive. It's still cool. It's a nice piece of history, but it's a fucking bridge. And even worse, it's a bridge that takes you into North Sydney. And who the fuck wants to go there? I think I've just gotten really bored of Sydney as a city, as a place to live. And especially, it bogs me down and it kind of kills my hope because it's so fucking unaffordable. I think it's like the second or third or fourth most unaffordable place to live in the world, you know? And on one hand, you know, it is a place of opportunity because there's, you know, it's kind of the economic hub of Australia, so to speak, I guess. There's more in Sydney, it's more established, but you know, it's like probably 5% more established than any other city in Australia. Like it's not like this is the only city and everywhere else is a shithole. Like a lot of the other cities in the country are pretty, you know, they've got their shit together. I'm really sick of it. I hate going to the same places. Uh, I hate how, you know, you can't afford to move out. You can barely afford to have a night out. And just job market fucking sucks. I mean that it sucks for everybody, no matter where you are at the moment. But Sydney, it adds that extra layer of difficulty because it's so expensive and because it's so populated. You know, it's really really hard to sort of find that charm. You know, and there are a lot of people who love Sydney because they think it's a beautiful place and there's, you know, there's a lot to it. And again, I don't think you're wrong for thinking that. But typically, that opinion is coming from people who are established and financially secure in Sydney, or they're here temporarily, you know, or they're able to move around quite frequently. People that are going to, you know, Manila and Bali and then they're going to the US and then they're going to Europe and then they're coming back to Sydney. It's like you're able to sort of hop and skip and jump your way out of here. Other people are just kind of sitting around going like, fuck, you know, went on a night out, cost me 80 fucking dollars for like four drinks, right? Like, good fucking God, you know? And then when we went out, we were home by like 11:30 because everything was closed and everything was dead. So we went out, didn't have that much fun, tried to have fun, spent more money than we probably fucking should have, and then came home and thought I could have just stayed home. Oh, I haven't even spoken that much about the people. I spoke about it a bit. But yeah, I would say a lot of foreigners say that people in Sydney aren't exactly the friendliest. And I found a Reddit thread. I don't like Reddit very much. I might make my own video on that about why I have a distaste for it. But I found some Reddit thread from someone saying like, "Hey, you know, I've lived in Sydney for about a year, and so many people say they hate it, and I don't really know why." And a lot of people were talking about how, you know, like people in Sydney tend to be a bit more antisocial. And they were comparing Sydney to Paris. They were saying that, you know, a lot of French people will say it's not French people that are rude, it's people from Paris that are rude, right? It's because they live in the super expensive mainstream city, and all the other people in the regional areas or the other less popular cities are actually pretty nice. And you know, I can't say if it's true or not because I've been in Sydney and I don't know, I kind of do act a bit antisocial sometimes. And I don't like being that way. I want to be in a place where you can kind of just chill out, be nice and whatever, whatever. Because I can guarantee you, if I were to go into Sydney right now and walk up to any random person and say, "Hey, I really like your outfit," they'd probably go, "Thanks." It's just, it's an entire city of people who act like Gen Z people on TikTok. Like it's actually fucking ridiculous. Um, dude, get me the fuck out of here, right? And it's like, I don't really like living with my parents, right? But economically, financially, it's my only option unless I want to go live in a share house with like six other people. But then I'd be in a share house with six other people in Sydney. What the fuck am I gonna do there? You know? I don't know. That was my whinge and bitch and moan. Um, I hope you're all doing well. I'm mildly frustrated, but doing okay. you know, let me know how you feel. If you live in Sydney, tell me how much you hate it. Bye bye.